Hey Eurovision fans, it's Tom coming to you from Dublin. I'm back for another Eurovision reaction video. Today I'm going to be reacting to the results of the second semi-final of Serbia's national final. So let's kiki. So today I'm going to talk about the show, the 8 acts who qualified for the final. I'm also going to talk about a couple of people who didn't qualify. So I'll leave some timestamps for those in the progress bar. Also, if English isn't your first language, also if you can't understand me, you can turn on subtitles or slow down the video in YouTube settings. Okay, so first of all, another really great show, lots of fun staging. Some of the acts I felt really elevated when I could see them visually. It was quite front loaded in that the majority of the good songs were at the start, and we saw that with the qualifications. The first 5 songs all qualified. So the 8 qualifiers were Hurricane, Nadia, Falari, Zezna, Fralje, Gypsy, Gift, and Duo Grande. So the first 5 all qualified, which is kind of nice to see because I think often I personally assume that songs at the start are gonna have a disadvantage with the televote. Now, obviously we don't know what the scores are with the jury and the televote, but it's considered a disadvantage to be earlier. This is a nice thing to see with a random draw where a lot of the strong songs is hard to say, where a lot of the strong songs were at the start. All 5 of them went through. So Hurricane opened the show. They had I really liked their outfits. They were very Cirque du Soleil, Avatar. They also kind of looked like birds as well. Like kind of pretty canaries or something. I quite liked it. It was a little bit fantasy, a little bit playful, and a little bit childish as well. A tiny bit of kids TV show, but a very expensive children's TV show. Yeah, they don't have the same energy as the previous Hurricane. Previous Hurricane were like firecrackers all over the place, hair whip, sass attitude. These girls don't really seem to have found their confidence yet. This song isn't as wild as Loco Loco. It just looked a little bit flat. They kind of stayed in the line for the whole time, and their dance moves were quite simple, and then you could very much see like the cogs turning in their head as they moved in a line backwards and then forwards, and then they like interacted with their dancers who were wearing fake muscle t-shirts. It didn't have the same like vivacity and energy that previous Hurricane have. But I think that they're just a new group and it'll take time for them to find that. But it's really noticeable the kind of expertise that the previous group had, because they would have made that like the most incredible show. And these girls were a bit more demure, but they still qualified, which I was happy about. Nadia was the second qualifier. It was very Avril Lavigne. She kicked over the mic stand. I hope this doesn't do anything in the final. Falari was third. I loved his. It looked a little bit like washing up gloves. I still loved it. He had a reveal. They came out in like rain jackets, and the reveal came really early. I would have liked if it happened a little bit later, or if it happened during a more climactic moment in the song. But yeah, it was cool. I liked that they had this almost like dystopian, weird house cleaner feel. I really liked the outfits, and also the dancers were very good. Mostly kept up with the dancers. There were a couple of times where you could see there were 4 professional dancers and then him, and it kind of stood out that he wasn't the professional dancer amongst them. He was just a little bit slower hitting his mark. So I think at some points it might be good if he just like looked fabulous and just let the 4 of them just do the dancing around him. Zezna with Rumba Rumba. I really love the visuals on this, especially the bits where it looks like it's like a explosion of gold. It looks like a paintball is exploded. Really expensive looking, like cool, almost like the intro to a James Bond movie. There was other visuals I liked. Oh yeah, there were like these red heads. I think they were saying rum ba ba, but they were saying it out of sync, which I liked even more. And it just looked like these crazy kind of voodoo talking heads. I really liked that. It was really cool. The song for me is so repetitive. It's really just like, oh man, it does my head in, because I don't get why it's the same thing just constantly. So I hope this doesn't win, because as much as I like her as a performer, she's really cool and she's got that kind of sultry sexiness that Hurricane didn't give me. The visuals are great, she's great, but the song is just too repetitive. A 5th qualifier was Fralje with Neka Neka. I don't really have much to say about this. It was fine, but I don't think it's a contender. It didn't particularly do much for me, but nice to have a bit of variety. Okay, the 6th qualifier was Gypsy. Now this, oh my God, this guy's incredible. What a performer. I was just watching, I was like, this guy is totally in his own world. He doesn't care that millions of people are watching him. It was like he was dancing in the shower. It's like, that's how I dance in the shower, when I'm like totally convinced that there's nobody looking at me. That like totally freedom to dance. I'm not going to do it now. He had no LEDs, he had no visuals. It's really just him in this like androgynous gold outfit, and he was just loving it. He was living life in his own world dancing. Very reminiscent of Michael Jackson in his dancing style. totally charismatic. Like, I was like really impressed. Again, I find this song too repetitive. It's the same thing as Zhezhnev, and I was watching it and I was thinking, if this guy had a better song, he is like a real star. He was just brilliant. And even though I didn't really like the song, I sat through the whole performance and there were no visuals or anything to entertain me. A lot of the other acts had very entertaining visuals. Okay, 7th qualifier was GIF. I have to admit, I didn't watch all of this, but yeah, I think it's nice, that kind of glam rock sound. I know that they were in it last year and they did very well with the juries. So I imagine they've done very well with the juries again, and they got pretty decent televote points last year as well. And finally, Duo Grande. Unfortunately, when I did my review of the semi-final, I skipped this because I didn't like the first half. I did watch the live performance where it turns into like a Rocky song. So yeah, that's kind of fun and a little bit goofy. Again, I hope this doesn't go anywhere near the top 3. Okay, so those were the 8 who qualified. Again, I felt this semi-final was pretty fair, pretty similar to semi-final 1. I don't feel like there were any real robberies. There are 2 people well, kind of 3, 3. The first of those was Igor. He's a little bit of a strange guy, but I loved his staging with these like fairy teddy bears. And I think it was God in the left corner standing at the top of the pillar, and then he got into his car. Again, for me, I love the staging. It was fantasy, it was interesting, it was fun and a bit crazy, but the song was just too flat, and actually it made me appreciate the song a bit more. I might actually download it. But similar to Gypsy, I feel like this is a really cool artist who doesn't have a good enough song to match their talents. So I hope he can come back with something a little bit stronger, but I like this weird sound that he has in his music. Okay, another person who grabbed my attention was Ivona. This staging was so cool. She was like kneeling down with her legs open, and there was like this demon behind her playing with her, and then it was all this strobe lighting as you could see this like person strangling her. It was really, really cool. Horror movie, terror, blacks and reds, really, really fantastic. I thought she was an amazing performer. And then later on, she did a Nicki Minaj rap. I don't remember what song. If you know what song she was rapping to, leave it in the comment. So yeah, I was disappointed that she didn't go through. And then the third person, who I know is a little bit of a fan favorite, was Igret. I was a little bit surprised. I thought that the jury would have favored this quite highly. I thought it was a little bit on the boring side. In the staging, nothing particularly happened. It was just like going around him on the piano. Maybe something happened at the end, but I did kind of switch off. But I know that he was a fan favorite, so a little bit sad that he's out. So overall, yeah, not as strong a semi-final, but I still think that the 8 songs that went through to the final are going to add a lot to it, and there's a couple of favorites in there. So really looking forward to the final, which is on Saturday. I'm going to do a final preview video where I talk about who I think could win and who I think could do well with the jury and the televote. And also there was a cryptic clue from one of the jurors about how the points were distributed in the first semi-final. So I'll cover that in a separate video. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in another version of Reaction Video very soon. Goodbye. Blah, 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 blah.